So yeah, just thank you for the invitation to the call. We were invited by the Cabinet Office and of course some people in DCMS to present. We're already involved with a consortium on a different aspect. We want to focus this particular presentation on what we're doing for COVID-19 response, and that was the basis of the invitation to see how COVID-19 response that we are deploying could be a part of this call with any in a certain consortium. So Unmanned Life, we are a startup, an SME, a startup out of London. We're about 4 years old. We've deployed around the world. We effectively are an AI for autonomy software platform, specifically focused on Industry 4.0 and smart cities. So what we do is bring together autonomous teams of different types of robots and drones working together. So imagine robots and drones working together in a warehouse for inventory management, or building a smart factory of assembly line, or doing deliveries, or doing, for example, surveillance and inspections, those sorts of things. And we do it, and the software does it fully autonomously. We're the only one that has that particular technology out of the UK. And we've deployed now across the world with multiple companies, both in the Industry 4.0 sector, but also for smart cities with governments. Of course, we work closely with the British government as with some others. And we've been working on this area for some time now. Next slide, please, Richard. So we're going to focus this call on what we're doing, particularly for COVID-19. So when, of course, COVID-19 hit us all, there was a request for us to sort of quickly come up with some solutions around that. And we, as a result of the fact that we are a software platform backend with all the necessary components to deploy and manage drones, and a swarm or a team of different types of drones, we were very quickly able to come up with what we call the Autonomous Pandemic Management Platform. And that focuses on 4 or 5 key use cases that are very essential. My favorite one, of course, is the autonomous disinfection outdoor and indoor. So we can deploy drones that can actually go and disinfect public spaces and semi-enclosed spaces like bus and train stations, retail centers, city courtyards, buildings, that sort of thing, and indoor in libraries or concert halls or community centers. Drones can also be deployed for public safety and crowd monitoring. So that's, the whole gamut from looking at the crowd, measuring fever at a distance, especially in subway stations and in train stations. We're all going back to work today. The subway was completely packed this morning, as you're all aware. It's very critical to figure out what's going on from a distance, because it's impossible to do it otherwise. We can also do delivery of medicine supplies and essential items, and between hospitals, test centers, pharmacies, and homes, and indoor logistics. So all of these things are now being deployed as we talk about across the world. So we have different people, different companies and governments who want to get that off the ground very quickly, as you can imagine, for COVID-19. And what we're looking to do here in this particular call is to work with the consortia, not form or lead a consortia, obviously, and we are already part of one in a very different area, but to look at consortia that might be interested in trialing COVID-19 solutions within the 5G Create program, particularly to involve the 5G aspect of it. So these solutions obviously can be deployed with or without 5G, can be deployed with public telco networks, Wi-Fi, or even without any telco network. But the idea is that how could we do that with 5G and make it a regular part of a city or of an area or of an industrial zone. And so that's kind of our interest in what we want to do here. And if we can go to the next slide, please, Richard. Just some data on the kind of things that are possible to be done today. So this is all possible today, so we don't need to do that. It's not something that needs to be worked out, right? So up to 2 to 10 drones can be deployed in different teams, 1 or more teams. Flight times of 10 to 35 minutes can be extended, distance up to 10 square kilometers. Response time less than 15 minutes, and that depends really. If the response time is in terms of disinfection, of course, it's much lower. You can do it on-site or off-site. There are a lot of cost reductions associated with all of these things. The drones, the teams can be monitored remotely, either on site or from a city hall or from a operations center, as you might see it. And of course, the whole thing is mobile and portable, which is the power of the thing, is that you could deploy in different sites around the city or in different industrial zones or different areas without having, you don't need to have a fixed installation. And therefore that is a huge part of the cost reduction, the performance, that there's no reason to have fixed infrastructure or to spend a lot of money in an area and then not have to use that after a few days, like we see with the Nightingale Hospital, for example, in London. Our track record, we've obviously worked with a lot of companies in the UK and abroad. BT, Verizon, Ericsson, Nokia. We're building the world's first autonomous assembly line logistics smart factory, effectively for Telefonica, for Seat in Volkswagen. We are deploying the first autonomous search and rescue and emergency response service over 5G for the city of Vienna. These are ongoing projects, and we've done already autonomous drone swarm for emergency response, responding to a highway emergency, for example, with Verizon and Nokia. So our interest here, as we said, is to try and figure out if there are any consortia that have similarly been are forming or have been sort of nudged to form to deal with COVID-19 within the framework of 5G Create, as we were nudged by the government to do. And hopefully, if there are people willing to be a part of that, we are very happy to be a part of that consortia and do what we can in this regard. Thank you very much.